Okay, just be good to start, I guess, with some background on your career to date before you arrived at ELIQUO HYDROK, where you've worked and the type of work you've been doing.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Phil. Well, I guess it's a fairly long career now. Only seems like yesterday when I was a mechanical engineering apprentice, but it was 33 years ago when I started. So, I've worked in a variety of industries or serving a variety of industries, so power generation, oil and gas, probably done quite a lot in that space, some defence, transport, food and beverage, marine sector as well, so quite varied. I started out with a company that was owned by Rolls-Royce, and I was with them for them and another bit of Rolls-Royce for 14 years in total. Started, as I mentioned just there at the start, as a mechanical engineering apprentice, progressed to a project engineer. During that time, I completed my master's in project management, which was a Rolls-Royce sponsored thing. So that was really good, really good grounding for me. The mid sort of 2000s, I moved to Transport for London. They had openings for project managers for in London Underground for station refurbishments. It was quite a big program that was going on at that time. I managed to get a role there. One of my ambitions around that time, or just before going, was I wanted to do something to get involved with the Olympics from a project management perspective. And it worked out that one of my station projects actually was a refurbishment related to the Olympics. So it was an Olympic deliverable. So I was lucky enough to get the sort of project that I was hoping for. I was there for 6 years. Certainly the sort of the size and nature of those projects was really fantastic in terms of the experience that I got. Lots of stakeholder management was needed during the delivery of those. As that came to an end around 2012, I then started looking for other opportunities. One came along with a company called Dresser-Rand, an American-owned business, and I moved to them for 3 years. That was in Peterborough. And that company eventually was then sold and acquired by another business, and that became Howden Turbo UK. At that time, I then basically left Dresser and joined the new business as aftermarket director there, which then progressed into managing director. I'd say all those companies I worked for are very much engineering-led businesses. And all of my roles have been very much focused on customers and finding solutions for customers, whether that's project managing them, selling, managing a team that's doing that. And I've worked with some really great people over the years, and I feel really privileged with some of those people that I've worked with, to work with them, but also to be able to learn from them and develop through working with them as well. So I sort of look back over the years, and I take bits from every role that I've worked in, and hopefully I can bring some of that back into my new role with ELIQUO HYDROK.
Yeah, and obviously it'd be good to understand from what you explained of your career. What was there a particular reason why what attracted you to the company? Was it just time to find a fresh challenge? How did you arrive with ELIQUO HYDROK?
Yeah, great question. I think there was an element of it was time for a fresh challenge for me, but more specifically, what attracted me to ELIQUO HYDROK was really being part of a business that really can create significant improvement in terms of the environment, specifically our rivers and seas, and the fact that was in the UK was a real pull for me. I've done a lot of work with customers around the world, and I had felt for a while it'd be nice to do a bit more that was UK centric. Obviously, what we do at ELIQUO HYDROK is predominantly focused on the UK and Ireland in terms of what we deliver. So that was a real draw. I really liked what I was learning about the people within the business. So as I went through the sort of recruitment and interview process, what I was learning about the people, not only in Cornwall, but also in our other facilities that we've got in the UK. So we've got a facility in Wolverhampton, we've got one in Romwell, which is close to Barnsley. And I'm really looking forward to this opportunity to learn from them in the same way I've learned from others during my career. The range of products and services are really top drawer. And I think there's huge scope there, not only in what we do today, but also in the future to improve some of those and provide even better solutions for our customers. And probably the final bit for me was the ownership of the business is massively credible. When you look at Ski on Water as our ultimate owners, the ELIQUO Water Group that we're part of, we are one cog in a group of specialist companies focused on water that are around the world, and we can draw upon that experience. We can draw upon those products. We can also play our role in that for them. And I've been really impressed when you look at the investment that Ski On have made in the business. It's very impressive. There's been a lot of investment over the last few years. There's more investment happening right now that we'll be announcing soon and in the near future. So there's even more to say in that space, but I won't say about that today. So yeah, it's a very impressive company. I think great products, great people, and the ownership is very good as well, very credible.
And in terms of your job role, I mean, have you been brought on? Have you been given a very specific remit as to what it is you arrived to do, or have you been given a bit of a free rein or mixture? Just what is your understanding of your role at the company, if you like?
Yeah, so my focus is in sort of a few key areas. So, and we've basically the areas that we cover are split between Peter Wroe and myself. And also Rob Johns, our operations director. So as part of the executive leadership of the business, we work together, but we also focus on some specific areas. My areas of focus are on the sales side of the business, project management, the engineering, and using the background I've got in engineering to support that. Importantly, health and safety, and what we're doing both within our own premises, but also for our customers, and the product management side of things as well, and how we evolve our products as we go forward.
Okay, and in terms of it was obviously very early days. I mean, are you aware of ways in which you think you can contribute to making positive changes, or is it too early? Are you still pretty much observing, trying to understand the business before you start making any sort of rash or otherwise decisions as to what directions to head in, if you like?
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. In the short term, I'm very focused on listening and learning from those around me. So that's my colleagues that are around me. It's our customers. I'll be at EWWM in Telford next week. And really, I want to understand that in terms of where we are today, where we're strong, where we need to become stronger to support future demand. And really, work on those foundations and make sure we've got those strong foundations that we need to be able to meet the future demands, not just of AMP8, but beyond that as well. So that's the short term piece for me. Really, is listening and learning, and we can progress from there.
And in terms of, it might be a bit unfair because obviously you've arrived in the industry, so it's still a bit new perhaps. But I mean, do you get a sense of what it is that ELIQUO HYDROK's managed to achieve, if you like, in the recent past? Obviously AMP7's sort of drawn to, pretty much drawn to a finish. So any sort of ideas as to what's been, what the company's done well during that period, if you like?
Yeah, I've obviously asked questions and tried to get an understanding of how that's gone. I think we have to remember AMP7 included that dreaded 5-letter word COVID towards the start of it, and the team are rightly proud of how they coped during that period of time. What they were able to do in terms of delivery there, and tee up delivery later on in AMP7. But, we started AMP7 well as a business. It continued to grow from there. We saw growing demand for our products. You can see the volumes of work we were doing year on year were increasing. The team did a really good job. If you look back over the last 12 months in terms of closing out of AMP7, responding to the needs from our customers to ensure certain projects were over the line when needed. I think a particular highlight that was shared with me was the step change in sort of large batch phosphorus removal schemes, particularly with Severn Trent Water. They were able to see the track record that we had, the stability that we had sort of financially within the business, and really we really moved forward in our relationship with them, delivering a large number of projects. And we've seen repeat orders following on off the back of that as well, which is really great, and I think a particular specific highlight for us. And then the other highlight, I think, if you look at it and you look at the team that's formed here, and I've been very impressed with what I've got to know about the team in my short time of the business. But the building of that team, both through promotions and development of people, but also through bringing people in as well. So bringing in external talent has really, I think, helped us during probably the last years of AMP7, but also now setting us up nicely for AMP8 as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's the next sort of obvious thing. What's AMP8? Any thoughts? I mean, clearly, as you say, the business is heading in a good direction. Do you see that continuing, accelerating, or some significant new opportunities? Just what you see looking ahead, as far as it's obviously in this world we live in, nothing's that necessarily certain, but as far as you can ascertain, shall we say?
Yeah, so I think if I just start with people and carry on that sort of people topic, I think generally it presents a great opportunity for us to continue to grow the talent, not just for ourselves. Obviously you want your people to stay with you, but being realistic for the long term, people we are developing now, talent we're developing now within our business, may move on to other roles elsewhere in the sector, and that ultimately is only of benefit for the sector, the company that we're doing that, and companies like us are doing that. So I think that's an opportunity with the investment that is there in AMP8, the innovation that's needed in AMP8. It's a great opportunity to attract good people in. I really like the fact that we've been proactive as a business in terms of not just looking for people with existing industry knowledge, but looking at adjacent industries and bringing talent in from there, and bringing the best from other worlds into what we're doing. I think it's really important we continue to do that, because that's the only way we're going to innovate, in my view. We've got great focus on supporting STEM. Also, I work with academia, the schemes that we've got for apprentices and for graduates, that they're all key building blocks for us in terms of building up that sort of talent pipeline that we will reap the benefit of during AMP8 and beyond. Probably more specifically on AMP8, if we look at the challenges in there, we know that the water companies will be looking at phosphorus removal, so P removal schemes in a big way. Stormwater as well is another key area. We've got great experience in those areas. We've got hundreds of existing deployments of our kit out there that we can not only are there to support, but can also build upon that experience for future projects as well. We've got, you might be aware, Phil, we've got products such as the Meccana, MECMEX, we've got controlled water flushing products as well. So we've already seen companies approaching us much earlier in this AMP than we did in AMP7, about commencing projects earlier, about getting capacity reserved with us as well. So we're seeing a lot more for planning. I think that's great. I think that's exactly what we need to do. And that's probably key to dealing with the volume of work that is needed during AMP8 and probably beyond that as well. And for us, we need to respond to that by building on the capacity we've already created and continuing to evolve that capacity and capability.
Yeah, and in terms of the ways you can help your customers, clearly you've got some really good technology, but also there are, I guess, there's some issues the industry sort of focuses on, such as sustainability. I guess, costs are always there, cost optimization. I think the supply chains are, possibly coming under renewed focus, and then everyone says that, the industry's running out of, lots of people are retiring and they're not being replaced with us as skills. So are there any of those sort of areas where you think you, in addition to obviously, as I say, your technical solutions, but you can help, your customers with any or some of those sort of issues as well?
Yeah, that supply chain piece is massive. The volume, and more so it's having the supply chain to meet the capacity that's needed in terms of the number of schemes, whether that's supporting existing infrastructure or refurbishing or putting in new. So that's important. The water companies need a significant amount of, they've got a significant amount of capital projects that they're looking to undertake. We've built a really solid foundation in terms of our capacity, and we'll continue to build on that as we move forward and to meet demand, and by listening to our customers to go, what's coming up, and encouraging that sort of those early discussions. We've put in place the options for strategic batch procurement. We've already started doing that with some customers. By that, we mean that we build and store equipment in advance of it actually being needed. That gives water companies surety and comfort regarding that the product is there, it's ready to go at the time they need it. It removes some of the inflationary pressures that we get over as AMP cycles move forward. So it helps to control costs as well. So I think, that's something we're doing. Sustainability, you mentioned that, Phil, as well. One of the new products we've got coming in that space is the ELIQUO product. I don't know if you've seen much on that from us so far. If not, we could be great to take you through it in more detail at some point. But that is very much targeted at removing harmful greenhouse gases, mainly methane, from the digested sludge. And then what we do with that is we're separating the biogases out of that sludge such that those gases can then be used and utilised in a useful way. So probably the most obvious one would be into CHP, combined heat and power. So then you can generate the electricity, you can generate heat off the back of that you can use either within the works itself, or you can look to export it to either to the grid or to other businesses as well. So that helps with your overall carbon footprint. So you remove, you're tackling the greenhouse gas, you're also managing your carbon footprint in a better way. So that's another area where we could help more in AMP8 than by having that product than in AMP7. So that's quite exciting for us. We look forward to getting into that more with some customers. And then I think the other bit, when you look at the challenges going forwards, and somewhere where we will definitely get ourselves on the front foot and take the lead on, is collaboration, and that's collaboration throughout the supply chain, upwards, downwards, sideways. I think that's going to be vital if we're going to come up with some of the solutions that will be needed when you've got existing sites with constrained footprints and infrastructure, but the need to improve and address the sort of required environmental improvement and legislation that we've got there. We definitely want to make sure we're on the front foot with that. We will be gearing ourselves to that in terms of our people, in terms of our processes, to really help our customers innovate where they need to deliver and pay in the way that they want it delivered.
Okay, and maybe, I mean, if it's possible to sum up, I mean, how excited, I suppose, are you? There's obviously challenges, there's opportunities, and as I'm sure everyone in the industry is aware, we've got this independent water commission sort of rumbling away in the background. But in simple terms, the industry is facing, climate change, drier summers, wetter winters, etc. So just, I suppose, how excited are you for your own role and the company's role within that sort of fast-moving landscape and the opportunities there are for you to sort of make a difference within that sort of ecosystem, if I can put it like that?
Yeah, personally, I'm very excited. I know that the company equally is as excited, throughout, whether that's our ownership structure, people working on our sites, people working out on our customer sites. We're all very excited into what we can do to support. We've got a great set of proven products that are already out there across the UK, already addressing the demands that you'll get during a dry summer. That it's important that that precious water that you've got is managed as effectively as possible. So the quality of the water, therefore, that goes back to the quality of the product that you're providing to manage that and give you that clean water and not waste anything. When you think about wet winters, or it doesn't even have to be winter now, does it, to be wet? But it's sort of there when we've got high levels of rain. If you think about stormwater, there, our stormwater products are already out there, and we've got more that we could deploy to our customers to support with stormwater management, and that goes a long way to supporting sort of the demands, the seasonal demands that we now see in there. And as I said, look, I won't be the first person to say it or the last person to say it. The water is a precious commodity. We're a leading supplier. We have a responsibility. We feel we've got a little responsibility to do everything we can there, and that means that we need to be part of the solution for the UK's water challenges, and we absolutely will play our part in doing that.
Okay, I mean, it's been great to chat and some brilliant insights into what's going on at the company and thoughts in the industry more generally. And clearly, it's early days, so maybe I don't know whether at the end of this year or early next we can touch base and see what you've done since then. But at least for now, Matt, appreciate your time. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.